Well, hi Bob, thank you very much for joining us. As always, a pleasure to have you here. Let's jump straight in and look at the week ahead. What are the key stats that we should be looking out for?
For the US dollar, key stats of the week, we're going to be looking at inflation figures at the start of the week. Obviously, there's plenty of market concern over the impact of inflation on Fed monetary policy. In the second half of the week, we're going to be looking at Philly Fed and New York Empire State manufacturing numbers and the all-important weekly jobless claims figures. On Friday, wrapping things up, we've got retail sales and consumer sentiment figures. Expect retail sales figures to be key. For the Eurozone economies in focus, with Eurozone trade data and industrial production figures in focus in the week. Also on the docket are member state and Eurozone finalized inflation figures for June. Expect industrial production and inflation figures for the Eurozone to be key. For the pound, it's a quiet week. Key stats, we've got inflation figures at the start of the week. While we're expecting some influence, it's not going to be particularly influential on the pound. Key stats of the week are going to be employment figures later in the week. Claimant counts and the unemployment rate will be key for the pound.
And heading over to the commodity currency countries, Bob, what should we expect to see from them?
For the loonie, we've got manufacturing and wholesale sales figures. There's housing sector data to also consider. Key event of the week, however, is the Bank of Canada monetary policy decision on Wednesday. There's plenty of influence there as the markets look for forward guidance on the economic outlook and monetary policy. For the Aussie dollar, relatively quiet week. We've got consumer confidence figures midweek and then employment figures on Thursday. Employment figures will be key. For the Kiwi dollar, electronic card retail sales figures at the start of the week. We've got inflation and business PMI numbers at the end of the week. Main event of the week, however, is the RBNZ monetary policy decision. Markets aren't expecting any move, so it's all about the forward guidance.
Moving across to the Asian giants, Japan and China, what should we expect to see from them?
For the Japanese yen, quiet week. Key stat of the week, machinery orders at the start of the week. Obviously, markets are particularly interested to see how the Japanese economy is faring, particularly on the overseas demand front. End of the week, Bank of Japan monetary policy decision. We're not expecting any surprises there, and that's unlikely to have any impact on the Japanese yen. For the Chinese yuan, it's a big week for the markets. Key stats are going to include trade data at the start of the week, and then later in the week, we're looking at second quarter GDP numbers. That's going to be particularly material as the markets look to see how the Chinese economy is faring. Other stats at the end of the week will include fixed asset investment, industrial production, and retail sales figures, but it will boil down to the second quarter GDP numbers.
Finally, Bob, we always like to finish with the geopolitical look. What could we expect to see in the week ahead there?
On the geopolitical risk front, nothing really to report, so really just need to keep an eye on US foreign policy and relations with China and Russia. And then obviously there's Iran in the Middle East. Following the withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan, is there any instability on the horizon? So these are the areas that we need to continue keeping an eye on.
Well, Bob, thank you very much for speaking with us. Always an absolute pleasure, and we look forward to talking to you again very soon indeed. And thank you everyone for watching. This was the week ahead. Don't worry, we'll be back again very soon indeed. But to keep up to date with everything else, head over to our Dukascopy TV social media channels. Until next time, goodbye.